Hello everyone, this is Mr. Razio and I welcome you to Jai Gurdev English Literature. And in today's video, we are going to talk about the Victorian Age, which just comes after the Romantic Age. And first of all, we will talk about the historical background of Victorian Age. And then we will talk about the literary features of this age, and finally we will look the major writers of this age. So if you haven't subscribed my channel, then do subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. If we talk about the Victorian age life timeline, then it is 1837 to 1901. 1837 to 1901. In 1876, Queen Victoria became the Empress of India. Sorry, it is mistyped here, Express, but it is Empress. Empress means Maharani. So in 1876, Queen Victoria became the Empress of India. As I told you that first of all here we will talk about the historical background. So first of all, the historical background is material development. In the material development, there was a huge improvement in technology due to industrial revolution. As I discussed in the Romantic Age also, that there was an industrial revolution, and just because of it there was a huge improvement in technology, brimming with commercial energy and prosperity. If we talk about in the Victorian age, there was a very great energy of the commercial, and there was a big prosperity also, as well as there was an event, the Great Exhibition of 1851 in Crystal Palace, where manufactured goods of Britain were displayed. In 1851, there was a great exhibition in the Crystal Palace, and this Crystal Palace was displayed. The great exhibition was done by Thomas Pickerston in 1851. Now let's move towards our next number, that is social injustice. At this time there was a social injustice also, and in 1840, this 1840 is known as the Hungry Forties, because of the social condition of the working class people. Social injustice due to working conditions of the poor people. Charles Dickens and Elizabeth Gaskell talked about the social condition of England in their novels. The social problems novels focused on the poverty and suffering of working class people. Second we have, that is Chartism. Chartism was a movement. British working class movement that emerged in 1836 and was most active in 1838 to 1848. It was active between 1838 to 1848. The working class people demanded some changes: right to vote, equal electoral district, annual elected parliament, and abolition of property given to the members of parliament. So Chartism was a movement between 1836 and 1838 and 1848, where the working class people demanded some rights. The next we have intellectual developments. And this says there was intellectual development also. Like there was a revolution in scientific thoughts after Charles Darwin's On the Origin of a Species was published in 1859. Charles Darwin published a work named On the Origin of a Species, which talked about that the human generation, the humans are the next generation of monkeys. And just because of this work, people started questioning the church authority. The people started stopping believing in God. They started questioning. The book talked about evolution and natural selection that resulted in a class between faith and religion. Now we will have a look at literary features. What was the literary features of Victorian age? We have some of the literary features like social problem novels, Victorian morality and revolt. Third, influence of science and religion. Fourth, novel became the most popular form of literature. So first of all, we will talk about social problem novels. Social problem novels. The novels by Charles Dickens and Elizabeth Gaskell that they talked about the social condition of England. What was the social condition? What was the problem? They just mentioned in their novels. Second, Victorian morality and revolt. Writers such as Tennyson adhered to Victorian morality. Writers such as Thomas Carroll, Matthew Arnold, and William Makepeace Thackeray satirized the snobbishness of the age. Influence of science and religion. The next literary feature we have, that is influence of science and religion. Darwin's On the Origin of a Species influenced the work of Tennyson, Arnold, and Carroll. Actually, Darwin wrote the work, and that affect very much or to the all the writers like Tennyson, Arnold, and Carroll, and many are. At the same time, the Oxford movement, a religious movement against an existing belief of Church of England, influenced many writers. The writers were influenced by the Oxford movement. The movement was there, a religious movement against existing belief of Church, against the Church of belief. The next we have, and this is novel became the most popular form of literature at this time. If we talk about novels in romantic age, at that time it was not respected. It was not given the importance. But in this Victorian age, we find that novel became the most popular and the people loved to read it. At that time, paper and printing cost became cheaper, demand for books increased, novels became very popular. Now we will have a look of the major writers and the major works of this age. First of all, we will talk about Alfred Lord Tennyson, and his lifeline is 1809 to 1892. Tennyson chose legends of King Arthur and Homer's Iliad and Odyssey as the subject matter of his poems. So Alfred Lord Tennyson used to talk about Arthur, King Arthur, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey in his poems. He has written Ulysses in 1842. Ulysses is the English name, but in the Greek name it is Odyssey, which was written by Homer. Second work we have, that is In Memoriam. In Memoriam came in 1850. The next we have Robert Browning. Robert Browning lifeline is there 1812 to 1889, and he is very famous for dramatic monologue. We will talk in our other videos that what is dramatic monologue. The most important work of Robert Browning is Porphyria's Lover. Porphyria's Lover, it is mistyped here, left. Porphyria's Lover came in 1842. And his other works are Sordello, Men and Women. The next we have Elizabeth Barrett Browning, and the lifeline is 1806 to 1861. And she was the wife of Robert Browning. And her most important work are Cry of the Children, which came in 1842, Sonnets from Portuguese. The next, a very important personality of this age is Matthew Arnold. The lifeline is 1822 to 1888. Actually, he was not only a poet but also a literary critic. He has contributed some works in the poem as well as in the literary theory also. His popular poems are Dover Beach, The Scholar Gypsy, Empedocles on Etna, and the popular critical works are Essays in Criticism, Culture and Anarchy, Literature and Dogma. Culture and Anarchy, it is the work of cultural study. The next we have Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Dante Gabriel Rossetti lifeline is 1828 to 1882. He was a painter and a poet, and he is very famous because he was the founder of Raphaelite Brotherhood. And his most important work is The Blessed Damozel. The next we have Christina Rossetti. Christina Rossetti lifeline is 1830 to 1894. She was the sister of D.G. Rossetti, Dante Gabriel Rossetti's sister, Christina Rossetti. And the most important work is Goblin Market. The next we are going to talk about the major literature work of this time, novels. And we will talk about now the novelist of Victorian age, the most prominent writer, Charles Dickens. The lifeline is 1812 to 1870, and his important works are Oliver Twist, David Copperfield, Hard Times, Tale of Two Cities, and Great Expectations. David Copperfield is the autobiographical work of Charles Dickens. The next we have William Makepeace Thackeray. The lifeline is 1815 to 1882, and the works are Vanity Fair and History of Henry Esmond. The next we are going to talk about George Eliot, and her original name was Mary Ann Evans. The lifeline is 1819 to 1880, and the most important works are Adam Bede, Meal on the Floss, and Middlemarch. Meal on the Floss is an autobiographical work. The next we are going to talk about the Bronte sisters. There were three sisters which they have given their contribution to the works. In the works, that is solid. First of all, we will talk about Charlotte Bronte. Charlotte Bronte lifeline is 1816 to 1855, and the most important work is Jane Eyre. The next we have Emily Bronte. Emily Bronte lifeline is 1818 to 1848, and the most important work is Wuthering Heights. The next we have Anne Bronte. Anne Bronte lifeline was 1820 to 1849, and the most important work was Agnes Grey. The next we are going to talk about Thomas Hardy. Thomas Hardy lifeline is 1840 to 1928. His novels are set in a semi-fictional region called Wessex. Actually, his novels were set in a fictional palace named Wessex. All the novels. And the works are there, far from the madding crowd. The next, Mayor of the Castor Bridge. This is Castor Bridge, mistyped it. Mayor of the Castor Bridge. The next, Jude the Obscure. And the next we have novelist, that is Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll, the lifeline is there 1832 to 1898. And the most important work is Alice in the Wonderland. Alice in the Wonderland. And the next and the last we are going to talk about Arthur Conan Doyle. The lifeline is 1859 to 1930. He wrote 4 novels and 56 short stories of Sherlock Holmes. Actually, he created a fictional character named Sherlock Holmes, and about him he has written these all works. So in the series of British history of English literature, we have just covered from the starting of Old English period till today Victorian age. And in the next video we will talk about our next stage, that is modern age. So that's it for today's video. In next video of history of British English literature, we will talk about modern age. If you find the video helpful, then do like and share with your friends. Subscribe to this channel so that you always get an update. I'll be back very soon with a new video. Till then, stay tuned with Jai Gurudev English Literature. Thank you so much for